After the cancellation of the BACTSR.2 tactical strike aircraft by the British government in 1965, the Royal Air Force, RAF, was left looking for more budget-conscious offerings. This eventually led the service to the American General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark swing-wing tactical strike, reconnaissance platform. This potent system was introduced with the USAF in 1967 and saw 563 examples produced. It was only ever exported to Ally, Australia, where it flew under the nation's Royal Australian Air Force, RAAF, banner for a time, these being Australian-centric F-111C models. The swing-wing feature of these aircraft allowed a single airframe to maintain the necessary lift versus drag quality across various phases of flight by way of a variable wing arrangement. For low-altitude, low-speed flying, such as a landing action, the wings were outstretched, extended, while, for high-speed flight envelopes, these same members were tucked in along the sides of the fuselage, creating a more streamlined arrowhead-like form. Popular, classic examples of swing-wing aircraft of the period became the Grumman F-14 Tomcat naval fighter and Panavia Tornado strike aircraft, though the concept was under study even in the days of World War II, 1939 to 1945. For the British during the Cold War period, 1947 to 1991, the painful loss of the TSR.2 meant that the in-service, proven F-111 appeared to be a strong conciliatory selection for the RAAF, which had passed on local solutions including a modified Blackburn Buccaneer. The service contracted for 50 of a new F-111K production model modified to fit the requirements of its new owners. The K model was to support current RAAF ordnance and feature the lengthened wings of the F-111B production form with the overall design lines, form, and function of the F-111E. To this would be added an in-flight refueling capability, by way of a retracting fuel probe, an extra fuselage hardpoint for broad and munitions carrying, British-centric systems throughout, and a Mark II series navigation, fire control system, FCS, to satisfy the intended strike, reconnaissance role. The aircraft's maximum takeoff weight, MTOW, would also see an increase. The requirement was handled under ASR.343, which was drawn up in the middle part of 1965, and this was to cover two distinct forms of the new aircraft, the standard strike bomber and a trainer-oriented model, both requiring prototypes to prove themselves sound. A formal design review involving British authorities was had in November of that year, and this showcased the speed at which the program moved along. In March of the following year, the government formally signed an agreement with the United States to cover the first 10 aircraft, and the remaining 40 was signed off for in March of 1967. However, all things changed when economical factors came into play, resulting in the F-111K program being cancelled by the British government on January 16, 1968, this with final assembly of the first aircraft being well advanced. The ASR.343 requirement was, in turn, suspended indefinitely, and the outmoded Buccaneer moved into the RAAF inventory, while the Avro Vulcan strategic bomber was reclassified to the long-range interdiction role for the foreseeable future. The program cost roughly £280 million for the time, and very little was had to show for the investment. As drawn up, the K model was to continue many of the design qualities of the F-111. This included a crew of 2, a pilot and weapons systems operator, seated side by side in the cockpit. Overall length of the aircraft reached 73 feet with a spread wingspan of 63 feet and a swept wingspan of 34 feet. Height was 17 feet. Power was to come from 2X Pratt & Whitney TF30P100 afterburning turbofan engines of unknown thrust output. Performance indicated a maximum speed of Mach 2.5. Installed systems were to encompass the Rockwell & APQ-130 attack radar, the Sperry and APQ-128J band terrain following radar, and the Marconi and APN-189 Doppler navigation radar suite. A total of 9 hardpoints would be featured under the aircraft and under the wings, 4 to each wing, 8 total, and a weapons bay hardpoint at the belly,